And while we're there, we're just going to talk about renting versus buying, right? Just like, just going to compare the two. And let's just start with buying, right? Stability, as I mentioned, in buying can also be a negative, meaning you're stuck. Sometimes you're stuck with a mortgage, huge mortgage, and you can't just sell it and move on, right? Renting, on the other hand, you gotta the flexibility, all depending on the type of lease you signed, obviously. But sometimes, even if you signed a year or 2-year lease, for a little fee, you can get out of that in a month, right? Let's say you get a great job opportunity and you have to travel. Some of these jobs would actually pay off that little fee for you so you can travel, right? And actually help you move, just depending on the job, right? Selling, it takes a few months, at least a month or so, to kind of get the home sold. So I would say you're kind of stuck more. Just maybe you're tied into this mortgage, all of that. It's easy to move, more flexible when you rent. You may not want to be buying a new house every year, you know, but when you rent, if you want to live in a different neighborhood every year, that can be a plus. You can do that. Depending on your job, you can actually go rent a house in Mexico and work online. I've seen that happen, right? Wealth generation goes towards the buying side. Flexibility, I think, goes towards the renters. Wealth generation goes towards the homeowners. Not too much wealth generation is created from renting a house. You're actually losing money all the way around. Renting can be cheaper depending on the area. It's not always true though, you know, but it can be cheaper. So if you're just talking about monthly payment, sometimes it might be cheaper to be a tenant. Let's talk about repairs and maintenance. Renting kind of wins that because all you got to do is pick up the phone and call the maintenance guy. Call the office and tell them, hey, my faucet is leaking. Hey, the screen is broken, something, you know, and they come and they fix it. On the other hand, as a homeowner, you got to call a handyman or you got to get handy yourself, right? So I would say, as far as maintenance and repairing, unless you got a slumlord, as far as a landlord, if you got any quality property manager, then you rather rent than own if you're talking about just repairs and dealing with repairs, right? Taxes, we talked about not being able to claim taxes when you rent. You can claim taxes as a homeowner, and obviously in the vein of wealth generation, you can actually sell your property. Definitely you can't sell your rental unit. Some people may be able to sell them to, for instance, if you're living somewhere in Manhattan in one of these billionaire row houses where everybody wants to move into a house, but you're the only one there, you can kind of cut a deal. That's the only way I know where a tenant can actually make some money, just selling the location to another buyer, bypassing the lease, but that's not even all the way legal, right? So you can't sell, let's just put it like that. You can't upgrade as a renter, but as a seller, you can definitely upgrade your house based on any easements and restrictions that may be. We talked about early in the podcast, we talked about Annapolis being historic and DC being a historic city, to where you can't just do any kind of renovation. Not everywhere in Annapolis, obviously. You got the historic district, but same as DC. But other than that, barring that, you got the flexibility to renovate and repair and upgrade how you choose with your property, right? Apartments, depending on the apartments, they can kind of be more accessible to community events, and also has that community feel, and sometimes can even be nicer. I'm talking about these modern complexes. A lot of them are popping up all over Maryland and DC. Gives you a community vibe, you know, because you got the lounge, you got where the coffee is, you know, you got the gym, all in the same complex. So you can kind of get that bond or vibe, at least. You can kind of get to see the same few people over and over riding the elevator with you, and probably build some community vibe or something. If you're thinking about having friends or just knowing more people or networking, sometimes these buildings host like a movie day or something, or just a day of, they got different events sometimes. times to kind of build a community. They got a community page at times on some of these complexes, similar to like a Facebook or Twitter, but it's just for members in that complex, to where they can kind of talk to each other and bounce ideas off each other. So you can kind of meet people virtually, and then they already live in your complex. If you want to set up a meeting in the lobby, kind of vet them more, you can do that as well. So that's why I said it depends, because if you're in a townhouse, technically you can kind of do that with your neighbors, or you're in an HOA that's kind of not too far and spread apart, you can kind of do that as well. Final difference, I'll say, homeowners are more in control of their property, whereas the landlord, on the other hand, is in more control of the property when you rent, right? Not meaning they can bust through your door, but as far as fixing it, repairing it, aesthetics, improvements, technically all falls on the lap of the landlord, right? So hopefully that helped out. Hopefully you like those. And you can leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you found it informative. My contact information is in the description below. Send me a text or an email, because I'd love to help you with your real estate needs.